Hi guys, part two. So I believe the last place we left off was the beginning of the relationship, and oh God, my collar been like this all day. Um, yeah, Lord, get it together. The beginning of our relationship and how I was not blindsided. How there were signs, there were huge red flags before we got married. Because I know a lot of people were thinking you probably didn't know you were blindsided. I was not blindsided. They were clear signs. So basically, I'm just gonna give like a few examples that I can actually remember the details of, because some of it is a blur. When we were dating, he was living with he was living with his brother's girlfriend, and their three children. He used to stay in the basement, finished basement part. And I would go over there and visit all the time because like he didn't drive, I was the one that drove. He didn't have a job or anything like that, which I'm not knocking him not having a job because I get it. He was 19 at the time. I think I was 20, 21, 20 going on 21 or something like that. We're 2 years apart. And so anyways, I would go over there all the time, come see him. And I remember one particular time when we were dating, his cousin or some family member or family friend had came over. It was a male. And I think what happened is he ran to the store and he went to the gas station. And so he left me there, and his cousin, I think, was still there. And so when he got back from the store, we were all sitting down in the basement. There's like couch and a couple of chairs, right? He was sitting on the couch, I was sitting in a chair, and his cousin was like sitting across the room. Everything was fine. I was being my normal self. I felt comfortable because, like when you're meeting your boyfriend's family or friends, like you want to impress them. You want them to make sure that they like you and approve of you. So I'm being my regular like me cat. And so after the guy left, I remember him getting so upset. He came to me and he was like, "Oh, so you want to fuck him?" What? Like, how did you get that? Like, how did you come to that conclusion? Like, somebody please let me know. He said that because when I was sitting down, my knees were pointing in the direction of the cousin. The cousin was sitting across the room from me, across from me. I was sitting down. And he said that I wanted to have sex with him. I was a hoe, I was a slut because my knees were pointing in the direction of his cousin, his friend, whoever he was. I got slung around for that. I got pushed, pulled, and called all types of names because my knees were pointing in the direction of where this guy was sitting. Huge red flag. And I remember thinking in that moment, like, what? Like, I honestly, I could not understand it. However, like, I was still trying to prove to him, like, I do not, like, I have no interest I just met this guy, number one. Number two, I'm with you. I have no interest in this person. I don't think I even showed anything that can even be questioned that I have interest in this person or I'm trying to get with this person. And then to call me a slut, a hoe, because my knees were pointed in like that it's not mathing. Like, that literally did not make sense to me in that moment. I remember thinking, like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? However, because I was so, and I'm gonna dive a little bit into why I was like this, like why I was so like hung up on this person that treated me like shit. We're gonna get into that because eventually somebody's gonna ask or wonder, does she have daddy issues? I'm going to tell you right now, the answer is yes. Okay? And I'm still, like, trying to put the pieces together because I'm like, girl, what? Why? Like, why? There's so many others out there. So, anyways, anyways, that was one situation. The second situation that I remember is I remember we were at his mom's place. She lived in an apartment complex in Metro Atlanta. And again, it had something to do with him being jealous or something that I did that he thought I was doing something else. I don't know. And he was so angry. We were in his mom's apartment, and I remember like I was going to leave because I can tell that he was getting worked up and he was getting angry. So I was going to leave. He follows me out, walks behind me in this apartment complex as I'm walking to my car, and he's screaming and hollering and saying all types of things to me. I get to my car, try to leave. He holds the door open so I can't leave. And so at that point, I'm just like, okay, now we're out in public and you're screaming and hollering. Let me go back inside to your mother's house because I know you're not going to scream and holler in front of her, right? So we get back into his mom's house, and he's not done. I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't feel safe. I don't feel comfortable. I'm done. He's not done. So instead of screaming and hollering in his mother's house, he pushes me in the coat closet that was right by the door. So it's like a little, you have to come in the door and then make a turn, make a right turn. And the closet was right before the right turn, so nobody can see you if you're standing by the front door. He pushes me in the closet, and he holds me in the closet, and he makes sure that he finishes getting his point across. He pins me in there. I'm crying, and eventually his mom hears, I'm assuming, like some type of tussle or something going on. She says something, and that's how that situation ended. I left shortly after. There was a situation when we were visiting his friends, and we decided to go take a walk to talk about something, another issue. I can never remember exactly what the issue was because it was never a valid reason for the actions that he took against me. It was never a valid reason for him to put his hands on me. So it's going to be there are situations where I remember specifically like, okay, this is what I did, this is what I said that provoked him. But the majority of things I cannot remember, right? And again, none of it justifies how you treated me. We were visiting his friends. We decided to go on a walk to talk something out. And as we're trying to talk whatever this issue was out, he blows up. And that's what he does. He goes from 0 to 100 and blows up. And that's when it becomes dangerous. That's when it becomes scary. He blew up as we're walking down the sidewalk. He takes my hair, and mind you, I used to wear weave back in the day. I used to wear weave all the time, and in this moment, I didn't have my weave in. Like, there's no tracks, there's nothing like my natural hair in a ponytail. He takes my ponytail, he grabs it, wraps his hand, pulls it, and then pulls my ponytail towards the ground. I can barely walk. Because I'm being pulled towards the ground with my ponytail. And as he is pulling my hair, he's saying, look at this shit. Look at this. Yo ghetto ass. Yo nappy-headed ugly ass. Look at you. Nobody wants you. As he's pulling my hair towards the ground, and he's walking, so I'm like I can barely walk. I might as well crawl at this point, but I'm not crawling because he's walking as he's yanking my head towards the ground, calling me ugly, calling me ghetto, calling me nappy-headed, calling me all types of names. And I was done. I was done, y'all. Like, after that situation, that was like the worst situation that's happened while we were dating. I was done. I got my shit out of his friend's house. I got in the car. I drove away. This house, his friend's house was probably about 45 minutes to an hour from where I live. I started driving. I got 30 minutes in. He calls me crying and apologizing. I remember stopping at a Waffle House, listening to him talk, crying and apologizing, asking me to come back. I went back. So